don't make big decisions laced with emotion. You're mad, you're angry. In my lifetime, the more emotion in my decision, the worse decision I make. I mean, there's not even exceptions. I've had to apologize so many times in my life over the course of my 50 years because the first 5 years I wasn't making a lot of decisions. You know, I was not paying a mortgage. That I've had to apologize for because it was like, you know what? I was overheated. I was sad. I was too happy. Take a deep breath, sleep on stuff. Not a night, not 2 nights. Sleep on stuff for a long time. More emotion, worse decision. So the NFL, New Orleans Saints got robbed in a play, right? Emotion. And they changed the pass interference rule. It was a horrible call. But yesterday, the NFL said, all right, we have overturned the pass interference call. You can replay it now. Oh, what's interesting is the NFL also released several pieces of video from last year that would have been, with the new replay rule, overturned. Here's an interesting one. The Steelers were at New Orleans late in the year. This was called pass interference. It gave the Saints the ball at the 1-2 yard line. They scored. They won the game. Oh, the NFL says with the new replay rule on pass interference, this would not have been ruled pass interference. Steelers win. Saints, no longer the number 1 seed, have to go on the road 3,000 miles in Los Angeles to play the Rams, and they don't lose much in Los Angeles. Yes, New Orleans, this game would not have turned out in your favor. By the way, the Rams, Colin, are lucky to be in the Super Bowl. Actually, let's look at a second piece of tape. At the Super Bowl, the Rams would have had a 1st and goal had there been a review of replay on this corner throw to Brandon Cooks. Because if you reviewed it, watch right here, sorry radio listeners, Patriots grabbed his arm, 1st and goal, Rams would have scored. Instead, there was no call, just incomplete. And on the very next play, Jared Goff pressured, threw a pick, game over. Rams could have won the Super Bowl had the replay been in. Would you have been happy with that in New England? Saints would not have had home field advantage. Hey, Cleveland, Baltimore, Pittsburgh would have made the playoffs. When you make decisions based on emotion, you almost always make terrible decisions. The New Orleans Saints have really weak corners in a division with really good wide receivers. Don't you think New Orleans could use a little leeway on the clutching and grabbing stuff? Because they got the weakest corners in their division, and that division's got nothing but great wide receivers. They're going to need leeway the next couple of years. As Drew Brees gets older and older, the offense isn't quite as explosive. Had a couple of guys leave. New Orleans is going to need a little leeway on those corners. As Dean Blandino said yesterday, when you react emotionally and then have an owners meeting and rush something right into the market, right into the game, it's generally not a good decision long term.
What the NFL did yesterday is they won the press conference, right? They won the press conference. But as we all know, that's only part of it. Now we've got to figure out all the unintended consequences and vet out where normally the competition committee has months to go through this, think about it. Obviously, the play happened in the NFC Championship game. No one wants to see that type of mistake affect a game. But is replay truly the fix here? Or is it the officiating on the field and making sure they have good direction, they're coached up, they know what pass interference is, and they're going to make the call when it has to be made?
Dean Blandino used to run the officials. The league is not as smartly officiated or as well officiated since he left. I said it last year. The NFL's got to get him back and pay whatever it takes. The answer to this was educating your officials. The answer to this was improving the quality of officials. Instead, they let Blandino leave the league. Money issue. Just pay him. What's bigger than officiating the fabric of your sport? And not overreacting to this. You just a basic rule in life. Take emotion out of your decisions. You make better decisions. And don't overreact to stuff because of a crazy event. Nick Wright on the show yesterday had my favorite analogy on this.
Colin, if you're driving on the 405 and you go under an overpass and a giant boulder lands on the hood of your car, it hadn't happened your entire life, will never happen again. You don't buy boulder insurance. You say, man, that's terrible luck. You don't change a system for an anomalous event. It won't happen again anytime soon. And to change the system because of it is absurd, and mark it down. Fans will hate it.
I have no idea what in the world anybody is going to do with Hail Marys. If you go letter to the law, they'll all be pass interference. The desperate team will get a huge edge. And I think sports should be built for better coaches, better players, better schemes, and better organizations to win, not give the trailing team late, the fluky team, an officiating break. There was a quote from Cliff Kingsbury. There's only one of two possibilities here. He said yesterday on Kyler Murray, NFL meetings. I mean, I guess it's more what you don't like about Kyler Murray. When you watch him play, I mean, he can run it, he can throw it, he's a competitor, he's one of the better dual threat players to ever play. Okay, if you're openly flirting in a marriage, you're leaving the marriage. The only thing I can think of is, and I don't believe this, they're trying to drive up the value of Kyler Murray so somebody comes to Arizona and gives him a bunch of picks. That could be possible. And if that's possible, then they've told Josh Rosen, listen, we're going to pump him up. We're going to say amazing things. We're going to tell you how great he is. Don't bother. We're just trying to get more picks to get you more support. But I don't believe that's true because Josh Rosen about 3 weeks ago erased some Instagram stuff and appeared to be upset about it. The only other thing I can come up with is they're drafting Kyler Murray. Why in God's name would you go public with that comment? Folks, superstar quarterbacks are insecure. Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Joe Montana with Steve Young. Like the greatest that have ever played the game are thin-skinned. What about a rookie who was the fourth quarterback or third quarterback taken in the draft, had a chip on his shoulder, got beat up last year, is looking up at the rest of his division? How do you think he is consuming this? How do you think this lands for him? For Kingsbury to come out and say that, that's just openly flirting during a marriage. You do that if you're leaving the marriage. Otherwise, you keep it private. Okay? I don't even get this. This is either driving up the value. People look at Kingsbury, hear the quotes, and think, damn, boy, Kingsbury's one of these spread it out Big 12 guys. He loves this guy. And then you drive up the value in Arizona and goes, we'll take 4 picks. Or you're moving off Josh Rosen. And that is my gut feeling today. Because I have been told 3 teams have made Arizona an offer. A second-round pick for all 3. Okay.
For Rosen.
For Josh Rosen.
Right.
So I've been told 3 teams have made a second-round pick. Arizona wants more because there's a reason that teams continue to call. Because Arizona's never told teams, we're not interested. Arizona just wants more for it. Arizona could trade Josh Rosen today for a second. They've got 3 offers on the table, I'm told. And there's been stories coming out. The Giants could be one. New England could be one. People are saying the Chargers could be one. I can confirm a couple of those. I'm not going to tell you which one because, Joy and I have sources. This is the way the world works. But when I see that quote, they're either playing a game and Josh Rosen is in on it, or they are creating irreparable damage to their young quarterback self-esteem. You do not do this. There are things, how we talked about this recently where there are certain things you just don't go public with in the NFL. It's like NFL is like covert. The NBA is about saying everything. You talk politics, you talk everything. That's the NBA's business model. It's okay. The NFL is the opposite. It's like the military. You don't give out any secrets. You don't want your stars talking. You don't want anybody talking. You lose a playbook, you get fined $100,000 by your team. You lose your playbook in the NBA, everybody goes, who cares? Give it to Durant. He'll score. They're 2 different leagues, 2 different business models. This tells me there's a trade in the works. That's what it tells me.
Well, I'd love to believe that Arizona is crafty enough to trick the entire league.
That's one of two things that could be happening.
Right, but the issue with that is everything that you just said. If that turns out to be the case, and it really was just to get draft picks, then the rest of the league knows if you do business with Arizona, you may be getting a little extra sauce on the story there. So that kind of ruins your reputation moving forward when you're doing business, because that's clearly what you were aiming to do. So to me, that's not possible. And the other issue with that is, what about the fan base? You still have an entire fan base that needs to know who their quarterback is, who they're getting behind. So the more that you drive up the value of Kyler Murray, you're also talking to all of your fans who are starting to get kind of sold on this guy.
No.
And then you stick with Josh Rosen, and it feels like a disappointment because you've been talking so highly of someone else.
No, I mean, listen, when you start talking like this, you're gassing up your fans, you're gassing up everybody. If you don't consummate the deal, you just have Josh Rosen. And Arizona, by the way, doesn't sell out all their games. This is an organization that wants to sell out all their games.
I mean, that's a hard pitch that, we were just doing that to trick everyone so we could get all of these extra picks.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd, or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.